Hello, this is Team 7054 Robotronic Evolution. This is the first of many tutorials through the exciting world of Creo Parametric. Creo is used to design your robot before you actually build it physically, reducing time and mistakes. In this video, we will start by showing you the basics of Creo Parametric and what you need to get started. You will need a 3-button scroll wheel mouse and also the latest version of Creo Parametric Student Edition installed. Let's start by opening up Creo Parametric. Just hit No Start Working and click New. Choose Assembly and name it whatever you want. We're just going to call it Base. You can leave the common name blank or name it doesn't matter, and just hit OK. As you can see, we just have a basic little three-dimensional plane thing here. If you haven't installed the Tetrix kit of parts, you're going to want to do that right now. So go to Google Chrome or whatever your internet browser is and type in Tetrix kit of parts Creo. Where it says PTC and PTC first, that link, click it. Scroll down and click on Download the FTC and FRC kit of parts. And on the right side, you'll see FTC Tetrix kit of parts block party. Click Download all CAD models. We're not going to do it because, well, I'm not going to do it because I already have it. But once you get that downloaded, just X out, go back to Creo. And what you have to do here is make sure you download that to a convenient location. I know from Google Chrome it automatically downloads to the download folder, so move it to wherever you feel comfortable, like where you're going to actually save your projects and everything, so that they're all in one spot, because it's easiest if your parts and your actual thing you're designing is in the same folder. So we downloaded ours to Robotronic Evolution, our just folder for all Creo stuff. And as you can see, FTC Tetrix kit of parts. And inside you're going to have two folders. We're going to go to the Tetrix kit. And these are all the parts. If you want to see the part, because obviously you won't know what these parts are, just hit preview and you'll see an actual preview of the part. So let's start by just grabbing a channel. The only way to really find the right part is by scrolling through all the parts, and you have to go through all of them once because the preview isn't loaded. So if you keep going, as you'll see, it has to load the preview. So we just go through all of them just once, and now if you go backwards, all the previews are loaded, so you can just find the channel here. So I think it's 739068 or something like that. Yeah, here it is. These are the channels. So we're going to choose not the longest one, but the second longest one. This is the one that comes in your Tetrix kit of parts. Well, your Tetrix kit if you're a rookie team. This is what we got in our kit. These basic channels. So you just hit OK. I forgot to say that. You just click on it and just hit OK. And I just have a basic channel loaded into the view field. And just change this to default. What you see now, it turned gold. What you're doing here is you're constraining it to whatever location it is. So the location it's in, so it's like X0, Y0, Z0, if you know what I mean, like the graph. It's setting that location to be that always. So it's constraining it, so it's pretty much locking the location there. Now that, make sure every time you hit this check mark is going to keep it where it is so that you can load another part in. So make sure it's a status fully constrained. That means that it's never going to move even when you add other parts. And you'll see what I mean as we add more and more parts. Right now it doesn't exactly matter, but as you add more parts, you want to constrain every part that you add another part to, if you get it. Okay. So just hit check. Okay, so we have the channel loaded. And now I'm just going to show you some basic controls just to make Creo a lot easier. What I'm doing to rotate this part around like this is I'm pressing down on the scroll wheel. You have to have a scroll wheel mouse, so the wheel you use to scroll with, you press down on it, and that'll allow you to rotate the part on the center of it, which, as you can see, is that red rhombus square thing. And to zoom in and out, it's just scrolling the scroll wheel, but it's not scrolling up to zoom in, it's scrolling down. It's kind of backwards, but that's the way it is. And to move the part around like this, you hold down shift and then you press down on the scroll wheel, just like you do to rotate, but now you hold shift and it'll move it around. And to rotate the part on like a plane, like this, you hold down the control key on your keyboard and then you press down on the scroll wheel button or mouse or thing on your mouse. Okay, so those are the basic controls. It makes Creo a lot easier than having to, I don't even know where the other controls are, like clicking on drag components or whatever it is. But yeah, so now let's load another channel in. And now you can see we have two channels here. So they're right next to each other, so it makes it a little hard to see the individual holes on each. And you'll see why we need to see those individual holes. So these arrows here, just pull down on the red arrow, or whatever color it is for you, just pull down on it so that they're spaced apart so you can see the individual holes on both those planes. Don't hit the check yet, because if you look here, it says status no constraints. So right now, what happened is it's still pink purplish, so that means that it's not constrained in location. So pretty much you didn't assign X, Y, or Z values to the part. So it's going to stay there, but it's not at a specific location. So it could be anywhere because you didn't assign it a value. So since you assigned this a value, this gray channel here, you assigned it X0, Y0, and Z0, or whatever the thing assigned it when it said status fully constrained. You want to constrain the parts on these. So we're going to constrain the holes and faces. You want to constrain it to this channel because this is locked and it's in place, and this isn't. So basically you want to lock everything onto one structure. So this is the main structure now, and you're going to lock everything onto it. And because you lock this onto this, that's going to make this fully constrained, and you'll see what I mean. So basically, for this first one, what we're basically going to do here is just make a right angle with this. So we're going to align this part of it right here, and then have the entire channel stretching that way. So first what you want to do is line this hole up with this hole over here. And by the way, it doesn't matter if you pick that half of the hole or this half of the hole. They're both like the same hole pretty much, so I don't know why it's divided like that, but yeah, it doesn't matter. And just line it up. Let me see it again. Yeah, line it up with this hole right here. So I know the arrow doesn't exactly look like it's pointing to this hole. I don't know why, but it's if you click the right holes, it's lined up. And so right now this one is lined up with that. So that you got right. Now you have to line this hole up with this hole. And now it lined them up, but it does not look right because right here it says oriented. And sometimes Creo automatically sets it as oriented. It shouldn't be oriented. if you want it, like, oriented doesn't make this hole exactly lined up with that hole. So you want to change this to coincident. Now both those holes are exactly lined up, like they're on the same plane, both of them. And so now you can see that you've formed a right angle. Now all you have to do is make these two touch each other. And you might be thinking, oh, we can just use this red arrow again and push it on here. But you actually don't. This red arrow is just to move the piece around so you can see under it and everything. Because if you had it like this, right next to it, you can't exactly see the holes under it. I mean, right now we didn't need those holes, but sometimes if you're working in like tight spaces or something, or your thing is getting really complicated, you won't be able to access these holes. So it's just used to space them out, but you're not actually constraining anything with this. You're just moving the part around so you can see around it. What you actually have to do to constrain it to this, like set the X value, or in this case we're setting the plane, so right now it's on the wrong plane. If you think about it, this plane's going like all like this. You learn it in geometry. So you want to constrain this plane. That plane should be the same, on the same plane as this plane, because the plane that this is on extends forever, and the plane that that's on extends forever. You want these two to be on the same plane, so then they'll be intersecting. Well, like on the same plane. And since these two, you've lined them up on the same plane as this and this hole. Well, not plane, but like curved plane, I guess. You line them up. What you're doing now is you're constraining the whole thing. So there's no other possible location this can be in besides the one it's about to be in. So if you got to click that plane, it'll turn green, and then you click this plane right here. And yeah, now it's gold, status, fully constrained. So that means it's fully constrained, and that's right. So just hit the check. As you can see, you now have a fully constrained 2 channels.